Today, we're going to talk about the invisible rules that are starting to run our digital lives. You know, the tools that are supposed to help us at work, well, now they're watching us at home. And the platforms we trust every single day are being used to trick us. The lines are just getting blurrier and blurrier, and the question of who's really in control, well, that's more important than ever. So let's start with a really simple question. Is your tech working for you or for someone else? I mean, it sounds straightforward, right? But the software you use for your job might be tracking your every move. And the vacuum cleaning your living room, it could be spying on you. So who's really calling the shots here? Let's dive in. Okay, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at how surveillance is literally creeping from our offices into our homes. Then we'll get into how trusted platforms are being weaponized. After that, we'll zoom out to see the government's growing data dragnet. And finally, we'll tackle some really big questions about our shared digital future. First up, the blurring digital boundaries. This is all about how the tools of the office are following us home while the gadgets in our homes are watching us more closely than you'd think. So get this, starting in December 2025, Microsoft Teams is rolling out a new feature that will automatically update your work location the second you connect to the office Wi-Fi. It'll know which building you're in without you doing a thing. Now, they say it's for convenience, but what it also does is create this perfect automated log of your physical presence at work. The official line from Microsoft is that this is just to, quote, clear up location ambiguity for hybrid work, but let's look a little closer. This is a pretty big step towards automated visibility into where employees are physically. And suddenly that line between just being at the office and being productive gets a whole lot fuzzier. And hey, this kind of tracking isn't just stuck at the office. It's making its way into our living rooms. Just take the story of a software architect named Harsh Shankar. He found out his iLife robot vacuum was quietly sending detailed maps of his home and usage data back to servers in China. So Harsh Shankar did what any of us would do. He blocked those connections to protect his privacy. But what happened next is just wild. The vacuum, which was designed to work completely offline, just died. It worked itself. After getting nowhere with repairs, he decided to take it apart himself. He got root access and discovered the truth. The company knew he'd blocked them and sent a remote kill command to sabotage his own device, all because he wanted some privacy. And this story, it just perfectly illustrates a much bigger problem, right? We buy these things for effortless cleaning and convenience, but the hidden cost is often remote corporate control and constant data harvesting. The idea that we truly own our smart devices is starting to feel like a complete illusion. Okay, on to our second section, deception on trusted platforms. This is where things get tricky because attackers are now using the very systems we rely on every day and turning our trust into a weapon against us. Let me tell you about the co-phishing attack. Basically, hackers are using Microsoft's own tools to build malicious apps that live on a real legitimate Microsoft web address. So because the link looks totally safe, you trust it. You approve the permissions it asks for. And just like that, boom, you've handed over access to your emails, your files, your calendar. It's a phishing attack hiding in plain sight. And the scale of this stuff? It's staggering. A cybersecurity firm recently found a huge campaign on YouTube with thousands of videos offering free, cracked versions of popular software. Just one video for a fake version of Photoshop got almost 300,000 views. And every one of those views was a person being tricked into downloading password-stealing malware. So how do you even begin to defend against this? Honestly, it comes down to some basic digital hygiene. Rule number 1, stay away from cracked software. If an installer ever asks you to turn off your antivirus, that is a giant flashing red flag. And finally, just be skeptical. If reviews look fake or a deal seems way too good to be true, it probably is. A perfect example of this kind of trickery is the so-called Universe browser. It was advertised with these big promises of perfect privacy protection. But when security researchers took a look, they found it was the exact opposite. It was basically malware dressed up as a privacy tool, logging keystrokes and turning off security features, all while pretending to keep you safe. Now, with all this deception, it's easy to feel a little powerless. But you know what? It's not all bad news. Some companies are actually pushing back to give us more control. And Mozilla, the folks behind Firefox, are taking a really important step in the right direction. Starting in November 2025, every single new extension for Firefox will have to clearly state whether or not it collects your data. No more hiding in the fine print. This means before you even hit install, you'll have a clear heads up about what that add-on is doing in the background. It's a small change, but it's a huge win for transparency. All right, let's shift gears for our third section and zoom out from corporations and criminals to the government level, because the data dragnet there is expanding on a truly global scale. In the United States, a new regulation is massively expanding facial recognition at the border. It's now going to apply to all non-citizens, including young children and the elderly, who used to be exempt. The official reason is security, but what it really means is that the biometric data of millions more travelers is being collected, and there's no way to opt out. And this tension, this tug of war between security and surveillance is playing out all over the world. Take two recent examples. The new UN Cybercrime Treaty is supposed to help countries fight digital crime together, but rights groups are warning its language is so vague it could easily be used to justify state surveillance. And at the same time, a new bill in Russia could force security researchers to report all software bugs straight to its intelligence agency. Critics say that doesn't make anyone safer, it just weaponizes that knowledge. And that brings us to our final section and some really fundamental questions about our digital future. As AI changes everything, we have to ask, who really owns the code and the data that's powering it all? So, according to Sean O'Brien at the Yale Privacy Lab, we've got a massive problem brewing. Generative AI models are trained on mountains of open-source software projects. The AI then spits out code snippets that have been totally stripped of their original license, their author, and all context. O'Brien has a great name for it: license amnesia. And here's why that's a huge threat. This quote from O'Brien just says it all. Open source has always worked because of a cycle of community contribution. People build on each other's work. But if AI just mines all that code without giving anything back, that cycle breaks. The work of decades risks becoming a resource that's just used up, gone. And this idea of hidden consumption isn't just an abstract thing. A leaked internal memo from Amazon showed a debate inside the company over how much of its giant water usage to actually disclose. Their public reports focused on just a tiny fraction of their real footprint because they were worried that revealing the full 105 billion gallons used in 2021 would be a PR nightmare. The thirsty reality of AI is often hidden behind a green logo. So when you step back, you see that all these stories, from the spying vacuum to the tricky browser, from government surveillance to AI's hidden costs, they're all connected. They all point to this fundamental erosion of boundaries, of trust, and of our own privacy in the digital world. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. Every single day, technology offers us more convenience and more power than we've ever had before. But as these invisible systems get tangled up in every part of our lives, we have to keep asking ourselves, what is the true price we're paying in privacy? And ultimately, in control?